Mando been taking good care of you, huh? Have you been taking good care of him? Yeah, he said yeah.
The Mandalorian's world building continues to be its greatest strength as the show slowly peels back the layers of this new era. While we have to wait a little while longer to meet Ahsoka Tano, Episode 4 isn't content to be a jaunty side quest. Episode director and star Carl Weathers and writer Jon Favreau are sowing seeds for future storylines by sneaking in some major plot developments about Moff Gideon's master plan, under the cover of what initially seems like a standard mission of the week formula. First, we have confirmation of what many of us suspected from the beginning, that Gideon and Dr. Pershing are indeed interested in Baby Yoda for his Force sensitivity, aka midichlorian count, or M count, if you want to avoid using that dirty prequel word. While the details of Pershing's procedure weren't clear back in Season 1, he apparently harvested the child's blood to transfuse into a host body, seemingly hoping to imbue their volunteer with Force abilities. So far, this has led to a catastrophic failure and a regrettable fate for whoever they're experimenting on. But given that the scientists in the lab have the same Kaminoan symbol on their uniforms as Pershing, and that the lab was full of suspiciously Snoke-esque mutated bodies and tanks, there are clearly some cloning shenanigans going on. The question is, however, are these experiments in service of eventually creating Snoke and fulfilling Emperor Palpatine's ultimate goal as seen in The Rise of Skywalker, which would be way less interesting, or is Gideon hoping to create an army of Force-sensitive troopers, or, long-term, give himself Force abilities? Gideon seems like the type of guy who would want to keep that kind of firepower for himself rather than sharing such abilities among the plebes. So it's possible that this Baby Yoda blood experiment is separate from his Dark Trooper droid project. Either way, Mando won't be happy, especially when he figures out that Gideon's planted a tracking device on the Razor Crest. One downside of having such short episode runtimes and such a stoic main character is that there's not much time for introspection, but the show always finds subtle ways to keep Mando evolving without the need for expository conversations. Din Djarin received some fairly earth-shattering revelations about how he was raised and the realities of Mandalorian culture from Bo-Katan in Episode 3. But since there's always a new battle to fight and no one who can verbally push him on what he's thinking, Mando can put off confronting this major shift in his worldview for a little bit longer. Instead, the episode uses a brief but effective character beat as Din raises his helmet just enough to take a drink in front of Baby Yoda, to hint that this perspective may be shifting without slamming us over the head with it. While it's good to see Cara and Greef again, the episode does suffer a bit from the return of Horatio Sands' myth role. He's similar to Amy Sedaris' Peli Motto, both seem to be playing their characters so broadly, and they're written with such an emphasis on comedy, it tends to throw the show's tone out of whack, especially compared with the more nuanced delivery from the likes of Timothy Olyphant and Taika Waititi, who managed to nail the humor of the Star Wars universe without straying too far into parody. The script relies on a few too many scenes of Cara or Greef yelling impatiently at Mithril or threatening him with bodily harm when he makes some quippy complaint.
I'm afraid of heights, and heat, and lava. How about if I put you back in carbonite? Get over there.
You get a sense that Jon Favreau is going for a 3PO dynamic, but it doesn't quite land that way. On the subject of homage, Weathers effortlessly invokes the iconography of the films here. From the Death Star-esque halls of the Imperial base to a typically ill-fated speeder bike chase, to Kara's recreation of Luke's trench run, to Mando utilizing Anakin's favorite trick to get out of a dogfight, spinning, none of it is particularly subtle, but it's deployed with enough adrenaline to make for an exhilarating ride. The Siege cleverly uses the show's standard mission of the week formula to deliver a dense and satisfying mythology episode that digs deeper into Moff Gideon's evil scheme. Aside from some clunky dialogue and an over-reliance on Mithril for its humorous beats, this episode is further proof that Season 2 seems to be settling into its groove. For even more on The Mandalorian, why not check out our review for Episode 3 or 2.